under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. McCausland, can you please take roll?
Mrs. Feiss. Believe she's online.
She's on.
Okay. Mr. Grisbeck.
Sorry.
Here.
Here, sorry.
Mrs. Hoppy.
Here.
Mrs. Janasek.
Here.
Mr. McGregor.
Here.
Mr. Modrak.
Here.
Mr. Scalzo.
Here.
Mrs. Turner.
Here.
Mr. Christensen.
Here.
All 9 members present.
Thank you. I need a motion to adopt the agenda for business items.
So moved.
It's moved by Mrs. Scalzo, seconded by Mrs. Turner.
Voting is open.
Doug, I'm yes. I can't get in.
Okay. Mrs. Janasek.
Yes, it's not popping up, but I'll get it fixed. Thank you.
Motion carries.
I'd like a motion to approve the meeting minutes from the October 11th facilities meeting and the October 25th regular meeting.
Second.
Motion is made by Mrs. Scalzo, seconded by Ms. Hoppy.
Voting is open. Motion carries.
I'd like to announce 2 executive sessions, one on November 8th, 2022 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information, and on November 15th, 2022 for personnel, other legal matters, and to receive information. So next on the agenda, we're going to have a presentation by Dr. Walsh and Mr. Bellani to talk about the National Blue Ribbon School Award. So, Dr. Walsh, do you want to start that off?
Certainly do. I appreciate the opportunity to celebrate the excellence that is the National Blue Ribbon Award for our Bethel Park High School. The National Blue Ribbon Program was the brainchild of the Secretary of Education Terrell H. Bell. He was named by President Reagan. Bell created this National Blue Ribbon Award in 1982 to bring public attention to the best schools in the United States and to facilitate communication and sharing of best practices among those award-winning schools. Every fall since then, the U.S. Department of Education invites the state's secretaries of education to nominate schools for the recognition of the National Blue Ribbon. To be eligible, a school must meet several criteria based on the performance of its students on state assessments in English and math, or a composite of those assessments with other measures of student performance, such as academic growth or graduation rates. A school can be nominated in either of 2 performance award categories: exemplary high performance or exemplary achievement gap closing. Bethel Park High School was selected for exemplary high performance. Once nominated, the school must complete an extensive application and produce detailed evidence of the school's philosophies and programs. It's from this application the nominees are narrowed and ultimately selected to be winners of the National Blue Ribbon. On November 4th in Washington, D.C., a celebration by the U.S. Department of Education at which Bethel Park High School became just the 37th Pennsylvania high school to win the National Blue Ribbon School Award. Bethel Park High School was among 297 schools from 45 states to be chosen for this prestigious honor. I will also add that this is the school district's 3rd National Blue Ribbon Award, with Independence Middle School having won the award twice previously. So as superintendent, I recognize and respect the old saying that it takes a village to raise a child. And so I know that this blue ribbon is shared by the whole village of Bethel Park. The exemplary academic performance of students year after year. The exemplary performance of teachers still doing their thing, or those who have since put down their chalk and retired. The exemplary performance of elected officials in positions of authority like our board. The exemplary performance of parents who raise these amazing students, and of course, the exemplary performance of an awesome administrative team. So we're here tonight to share this honor with everyone and thank you all for supporting the hard work of raising children in 21st century Bethel Park. So from a proud and grateful superintendent, I thank you, and I introduce Mr. Joe Villani, the high school principal, who can follow up on the application process and the reception of the award.
Thank you, Dr. Walsh. Thank you, school board, for having me this evening. It truly is an honor and a privilege to be up here. As Dr. Walsh shared, it's been a tremendous experience in receiving and being recognized for this distinguished honor in Washington, D.C. when we went down there on November 4th. But more so, it's a testament to the work that we've done and the work that we continue to do as a high school and as a district. When nominated early last year in January, it was a surprise to see it. It validates work that you do. One of the things in education is you put a lot of time, effort, and energy, and sometimes you don't always get to see the return on investment, because the return on investment is the success of our students. And a lot of time that success is not visible until they go on to their lives and their future endeavors. Again, being recognized for exemplary high performance is an honor. It's a testament to what we've done. While growth is tied in there, our scores have risen. We have taken steps collectively as a high school to give our kids the most rigorous and accessible education. One thing that was clearly defined in that was our performance, not just in our regular education students, but our subgroups, our populations of special education students, our students from exceptional backgrounds, and also socioeconomical backgrounds. So having an equal and accessible education for all students has been very critical. Being at Bethel Park for 5 years, coming here, working with Dr. Jansani, and the work we've done in eliminating level 1 classes, increasing team-taught sections, and bringing the students up to the rigor of learning as opposed to modifying and diminishing that learning has all played key roles in getting students to where they are in the achievement of these exams. In addition to that, the support services that we have provided, especially through a national pandemic of COVID, I think that is a distinguishing fact. And I've said this throughout, and I said this in the application, where many found a way to survive, I think we thrived. And again, that is a testament to the professionals in this district, the commitment of students, the commitment of teachers, parents, the board, central administration, to continue to find a way. A lot of the infrastructure and steps were there for us. We were very fortunate to be a district that's affluent enough to have one-to-one services. We were able to connect students with services while they were gone, and we were able to transition them to COVID, back, and throughout all of that. At the same time, our teachers really answered the call to provide that education for students, and that really talks to another subsection, is the culture and community of Bethel Park. We often say at the high school, built on tradition, focused on the future. And again, we are very proud of those that have walked the halls, that have led, and that have brought us to where we are. At the same time, we recognize the ever commitment to continue to grow, to continue to inspire, to continue to make that next step, or as Dr. Walsh will share, to be best in class. I can't tell you how proud I am. I had help of teachers to help do this. I mean, this has been their work, their passion. I had many people contribute to help write this application. We did put it in a single voice, and we went from there. But again, none of this is possible without all of us. And I think this is such a tremendous accomplishment for the district. It goes to say that it validates what we're doing and our commitment to continue doing what we're doing and never be satisfied with where we are, but where we're going. So I am extremely honored to accept this as the principal of Bethel Park High School. I thank you all. I'm going to pass this along and share it. Our friends at Life Touch, they sponsored the event and took pictures while in D.C. They provided us some banners, one that will remain here in the school board so we can continue to highlight this accomplishment. We've also taken some steps to proudly recognize, so I hope our students see and are aware, not when they just wear their T-shirts or they drive through campus, they get reminded of what they were a part of, and not just what they were a part of for getting this, but what they're a part of and who's going to be the next person to take the next step and the next recognition. So thank you very much. I'm very honored to share this with you, and thank you for your continued support.
So at your desks tonight, members of the board have a photocopy of the letter that was accompanying this award when we were in D.C. from the president and his wife. And I just want to read one key sentence there that I think is sort of significant. It says that America's ability to compete begins every day in classrooms across the nation, and we look to your example in Bethel Park to help all children succeed in the global workplace. And that to me is an example of a best in class. So, thank you.
Sure. This is an ongoing thing. It's picture in DC.
Okay, that's all we had. Great, great. Thank you. Very nice. Next up, student government report.
All right, so SGA will be is it on? All right. SGA will be having its third homeroom rep meeting this Thursday, November 17th. And several of the committees have also come up with their November plans. Publicity is organizing a scavenger hunt in the high school classrooms, and they're giving a clue each Friday. Staff Appreciation is doing a grab-and-go breakfast for teachers next Tuesday, November 22nd, to show our appreciation and gratitude for everything they do. And Random Acts of Kindness is having a Thanksgiving takeover, where students will have the opportunity to send in their best Thanksgiving photo from childhood for a chance to win a Starbucks gift card.
Community Services October Drive pairs of socks donated to Light of Life. This week they're having a coin drive to collect money for Melody Sable, who's a Bethel Park School District student battling childhood cancer. Oversight Committee is going to be doing club takeovers during the lunch periods every month. This is a way for clubs to spread the word about what they do in hopes of gaining members. The grant committee gifting the class of 2026, which is the freshman class, $500 to start them off for prom fundraising. Thank you.
Thank you. PTO, PTA report.
Hi, that's me. Sorry, guys, I couldn't be there. It's Caitlin. And so for Abraham Lincoln Elementary, the sales fundraiser is coming to an end. We still have online and in-person sales rolling in. At the end of October, our Urban Air event was a great time for the kids and families at Lincoln. The PTO was able to buy everyone socks that needed them and still earn some cash back for future events. At Ben Franklin Elementary, they are thankful for their staff and teachers. They have a great teacher appreciation luncheon on Tuesday for parent-teacher conferences, and they're getting ready for the holiday shop and cookies with Santa. At George Washington Elementary, several dress-up days will be held this month, including Veterans Day, Black and Orange Day, and PJ Day. The PTO hosted a staff lunch on November 8th for parent-teacher conferences. At William Penn Elementary, they held the Fall Book Fair and had a spirit night at Jersey Mike's. Their biggest event was the annual Fall Festival, which included tattoos, hot cider, pumpkin decorating, a bounce house, popcorn, music, and dancing and food trucks. They utilized the Junior National Honor Society students to help them with the event, and it went so well. Next, we have Neil Armstrong Middle School. The NAMS PTO is keeping busy preparing for some fun holiday activities for their students. Fifth graders and new students will be getting their NAMS school shirts this week. And finally, we have Independence Middle School. The IMS PTSO is in full swing planning mode for the annual holiday craft fair on Sunday, November 19th. So this Sunday from 9 to 3. And that's all we have for you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Solicitors report, anything to report tonight?
No, thank you.
How about any committee reports? Any committee meetings happen?
I have a Steele Center report this evening. We have some November Students of the Month. We have Michael Bonuito for baking and pastry chef, Jason Natali for cosmetology, Megan Rogers for health assistance, Catherine Clouston for medical professions, Lily Janis, she's in the veterinary assistant program. And we have some challenge program winners from Bethel Park, Megan Rogers and Jonathan Huber. And we have 2 work-based learning co-op students. Ben Smith is working with Dream Maker Kitchen and Bath in carpentry, and Jake Borkowski is working with Mardick Brothers Incorporated in the carpentry program as well. I attended the open house, which was fantastic. I drugged my husband with me, who is a home remodeler. So he was challenged by the carpentry teacher to drive 5 drywall screws faster than the teacher could, and the teacher did it faster. So that was fun to watch. There are 3 new employment opportunities at Steele Center. We are looking for a bakery and pastry arts teacher, a school counselor, and a student services secretary. So if anyone's interested, you can email me or email Steele Center. And that is all I have.
Great, thank you. Any other committee reports?
This is Sharon. I have a report from the PSBA liaison, and I did email all of the school directors the report on the delegate voting assembly, because it's a little bit easier for you when you can see it color-coded. First, there was the conference. The annual conference was held at the end of October, beginning of November, and thank you to the board for supporting me and attending on your behalf. I attended a lot of the sessions there. Many of the sessions I attended were safety and security oriented, and I will say that even though most of those presenters were looking at physical security measures, they all began their presentations by saying, essentially, before you start looking at physical security measures, you have to consider the climate and the culture of your school. You need to do everything you can to get trusting relationships with adults so that all students have someone safe to go to, and that those mental health aspects of the school environment really are things that you need to take care of first. And beyond that, they all kind of said that school safety and security is a culture, and the process to changing culture is just like it is for changing all other culture. And you do what you can. It's a process of continuous improvement, and making sure everyone understands the expectations and just moving forward with the funds that you have to do what's necessary. One of the sessions I attended was about the School Superintendents Association Learning 2025 initiative, which is about student-centered, equity-focused, future-driven education. There was a panel of districts in the state that do that work. These all happen to be on the eastern side of the state, but there is a group in the west that I think is grant funded through the Grable Institution. However, that fund's been going for a while, so I don't know if there will be another round of it. But they all talked about what they were doing in their district. It's all customized for each district, depending on where they are. It's basically a holistic redesign and re-engineering and co-authoring of the school's resources, culture, and social, emotional, and cognitive growth, and about customizing all of those things to drive student success. And some of the examples of things that they had done were really innovative, and I think tie nicely to a lot of the work that Dr. Walsh has done in our strategic plan. So that was very interesting as well. We looked at some cost drivers for districts in the coming years in one session, and those are things that Mr. McCausland has kept us all well informed of, so there really weren't any surprises in that session. Thank you, Mr. McCausland. The Mental Health and Safety Day of the conference, we talked about mental health assessments, school-wide assessments, and the need to do those so that you reach as many students as possible for your screenings. Talked to the representative from Rhythm, which is the program we're currently using in our SAP program for students who've been referred for those services. But expansion to all students seems like that would be a great idea. So hopefully that is something we can move forward in the coming years. We heard from a school district in the town of Litsitz, PA, called Warwick School District, who has had, unfortunately, a series of traumas in their school community for multiple years. And they have really made themselves into what they call a trauma-sensitive district, a trauma-sensitive school community. And they shared what they had been through and how it moved them to grow trauma resources. And some of the things that they shared were even specific about handling crisis. So I have those slides, and that might be something we could talk with administration about in a little more detail about like response to crisis and what you would need to have available to help people who come to help you. And there was an update from the Safe to Say program in the Attorney General's office, and a session about restorative practices, including youth court at high school level, which was an interesting and innovative idea. So that was it on the conferences, so thank you very much. And in terms of, let's see, I got back, I think, I don't remember if it was late Wednesday night, and Saturday was the delegate voting assembly, and PSBA set its new platform for the legislative year that's coming up, and I emailed that to you. They're obviously continuing to look for significant state and federal investments into school districts, prioritizing the mental health and safety needs of students, doing charter school reform, and opposing efforts to divert public education funds into private, outside public education, non-public schools. And some of the core legislative principles changed as well. They added ensuring equitable and affordable broadband access for all students in Pennsylvania. They dropped the provision about the National School Boards Association because they are now affiliated with a different organization. They are calling for the state to provide more flexibility for teachers to teach various grade levels based on their certification, increased incentives for people to become teachers and hold careers in public education, and facilitate and fund robust and innovative efforts to increase the pipeline of teachers and other staff of color and training and supports necessary to retain and recruit for diverse educators. And they have added the word all in front of students, when talking about the need to get mental and emotional health needs for students met. So they basically just dropped all in front of the word students to indicate that applies to every single student in every single district. And the last thing they changed in the legislative agenda was they dropped last year's ask that there would be a financial penalty to parents enrolling in a cyber charter school. So they've decided to drop that because they want to really focus this platform on quality of online programs and not on potentially penalizing parents or assessing fines. They felt that was not appropriate, and we need to focus on what public schools do and the breadth and depth of services that public schools provide. So that is my update on the legislative agenda. I'm happy if you have any questions or if anyone would like slides or information on the sessions, please do let me know. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Nice, complete update. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other committee reports? Dr. Walsh, Superintendent's.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Start with a set of congratulations first to our fall sports teams, who most all of whom made the playoffs and did very well. So we're proud of those accomplishments and the commitment and the spirit that you showed Bethel Park. And also a congratulations to the cast, crew, and directors of the fall play, the last Christmas radio show. Saw over the weekend, wonderful production, really impressive work of our English teacher that writes it and produces it. It's just great stuff. Second piece, of course, as I will do at these meetings, is to present to the board some update on our strategic plan. We have a very public-facing scorecard of our progress tracker of where we are with each of the action items and broader goals of the strategic plan. This month, I'm going to focus on the 3 student experience goals. Everybody will recall that there were 6 different buckets or categories by which the goals were organized and produced. So we'll focus just on the student experience. I'm pleased to report that we've made good progress in these action steps since we last looked at them. The first goal, and pardon me, we had some kind of printing error on the documents that the board received at your desks tonight, so projected up there and also in your inbox, email inbox, is a more accurate, complete report on this area. So the first goal is to incorporate the principles of universal design into our academic programs. Universal Design for Learning, or UDL for short, is an approach to teaching and learning that gives all students equal opportunity to succeed. To understand what UDL is, perhaps it's easier to look at what it is not. The word universal may throw you off thinking that there's some secret way or one way to teach students, but UDL actually takes the opposite approach. The goal of UDL is to use a variety of ways, a variety of teaching methods to remove barriers to learning. Kids learn different ways, and so it's universal designed to offer things in different ways. It's about building in flexibility that can be adjusted for every person's needs and strengths. That's why UDL benefits all learners. I said last month we're smack in the thick of a curriculum mapping project to get each of our courses written, and in doing so ensure it's up to date at the same time. So this then is the perfect opportunity to introduce universal design to our teachers so that they can infuse UDL concepts into their maps, into the very fabric of the curriculum. And since I last reported to you on this goal, several key things have happened. So we've offered a 6-hour professional development course for our teachers. We've also have a book study coming out of our curriculum and instruction department. We also have, and that has more than 40 teachers involved. And we also have some additional professional development planned for the future to keep this on the forefront of teachers' minds as they're mapping and as they're working on their course curriculum. The idea of universal design is powerful and can be impactful. It really challenges the teacher to think differently about planning instruction. And so for this kind of change to steep into our teaching souls, we have to take patient, deliberate steps each day towards a successful, completed goal, which is really changing the culture. The second goal where we've made some progress is to increase our student assistance programs, supports, teams. I'm sure the board's aware that we have a new teams room at the high school and the rhythm survey in place for 3rd through 12th grade. But we have also increased the proliferation of the second step, social emotional curriculum, that our counselors and social workers can use in the classrooms. We have student assistance teams in every building with support by a SAP liaison from Auberly and outside therapists. We had a high school team trained in restorative practices with more training on the way to foster a growth mindset when it comes to discipline. And so, toward the goal of the strategic planning goals, we have truly marshaled our resources for varying the needs of students and their experiences. Ultimately, we want to have as many supports and checks in place to ensure no one's neglected and everyone feels like they belong in our schools. My thanks to Dr. Mensch for masterfully spearheading all of those initiatives. The third goal for us, in our drive to be best in class, is the opportunities and experiences in which our students partake outside of the classroom. We want to develop the whole person, and in our sports programs, our clubs, and our activities are essential to that. The goal is not so much focused on expanding these opportunities as it is getting more students to find their niche, a place to find themselves. We also want to infuse service learning into these experiences. So we're pleased, we're proud of the progress, and we're seeing changes in Bethel Park. It's worth saying again that these goals are seismic shifts in our culture. This takes time to accomplish, and it takes even more time for it to produce the long-term growth and belonging we seek in becoming best in class. So I'll close by extending my appreciation for your support, your commitment, and your patience, and the same from our faculty and administration for doing this heavy lifting. I'm going to turn over now to Mr. Cromie, who will share with us his 5 big things.
As always, we have many more than 5 things that are happening here at Bethel Park at any one time, and I apologize to anyone who didn't quite make it, but these are the 5 big things for November. First, we're going to start with our student support services resources. If you haven't been on that website lately, it's become even more robust with resources and some really helpful links. And we just want to say, we want to reiterate that Bethel Park School District values its students' emotional, behavioral, and academic well-being. We seek to educate and serve the entire child. And Bethel Park has invested heavily in the support structure for its students with comprehensive coverage that includes social worker services, school counselor services, and site-based therapy options for students who exhibit such a need. Please check out our website. I think you'll find it very helpful and very enlightening. Our second big thing is, this kind of goes along with it. It's this week is Children's Grief Awareness Week, and all week long, students in NAMS, IMS, and in the high school are doing a number of activities, and it really culminates on Thursday with Children's Grief Awareness Day. All district students are encouraged to wear blue just to acknowledge loss of loved ones. It can even include pets, certainly can include family members, anyone that's important in your life. Remembrance trees have been placed in the lobbies at BPHS, IMS, and NAMS. All week, students and staff are encouraged to bring their commemorative butterflies on their branches, which is the universal symbol of hope and healing, with the names of their lost loved ones. The paper butterflies will be adjacent to the remembrance trees, and they'll remain in the lobby for the rest of the school year. And what's cool is earlier today, Mr. Lorenzi went down and made an announcement during lunch, and the students immediately started to do it, started to kind of take them up on it, and it was pretty exciting to see. Our third big thing is today was the 91st birthday for Ms. Pat Wasserman. And Ms. Pat, if you don't know, has been a bus monitor at Bethel Park since the early 70s. The Steelers had 0 Super Bowls when Ms. Pat when she started at Memorial. And she's been here to greet generations of students, and today it was really cute. Her dream was always to see the Hollywood sign. We couldn't take her to Hollywood. She's just too dangerous for Hollywood. So they decided to bring some Hollywood here, and they gave her her own star. So it was really a nice thing. Students sang happy birthday and sang a special song for Ms. Pat. Our next one is our Be a Hero school bus driver campaign. You may recognize that man there. It's Clark Kent. And it's our own transportation director, Scott Zeeler, who does a great job. And school districts across America, including Bethel Park, desperately need qualified school bus drivers. And with the help of Mrs. Hoppy and Andy Amarine and Dave Cable and some really good sports like Mr. Zeeler and Ed Timmons, we recently shot a commercial called Be a Hero, and it compares the school bus drivers to superheroes and extols the virtues and the benefits of driving a school bus, especially for Bethel Park. If you're going to drive a school bus, you might as well do it for the best, right? So it was also featured on a full episode of Around Town, and that's a really nice thing. So if you know anyone who's interested in driving a school bus, or if you are, please call 412-854-8414, and that's something that we're really proud of. And finally tonight, I just want to acknowledge the football team. The football team lost last weekend. They lost a disappointing game to Upper St. Clair. It was just pouring down rain the entire time, Hurricane Nicole, and we had some major injuries. And Upper St. Clair's a very good team, and they certainly deserve kudos for their effort as well. But I just wanted to say that this year, being around that team, they're really a joy. They brought a lot of good publicity to Bethel Park, and you can tell they're well led by gentlemen, and the kids on that team are gentlemen, and I think they're really indicative, as Dr. Walsh said, all of our fall sports. We had an especially successful fall sports season, and we're very proud of everyone, and I just want the football team to know that though we were disappointed in the result on Friday, we're extremely proud of how they comported themselves and how they performed this year. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Cromie. And the second item here is to move on to our Curriculum and Instruction Department, who will share our bright spots in Bethel Park.
Thank you. This evening, I'd like to share some bright spots with you in Bethel Park. And the bright spots for this month are going to focus on some faculty and staff training and opportunities to come together and discuss curriculum. So the first thing is the Curriculum Council. Dr. Walsh and the Teachers Collective Bargaining Unit changed our curriculum processes moving forward, which allows for a much more reflective and proactive change to curriculum when it is deemed necessary. And so via the Curriculum Council method, we are going to meet roughly 4 times a year with our curriculum facilitators and discuss the most pertinent issues for curriculum. And so there were a variety of topics that we discussed, some of which will be brought to the board next month. We did have a board representative there with us to make sure that everyone is aware and all stakeholders are involved in the discussions and topics. And so one day we met with primarily the elementary curriculum facilitators, and then the following day we met with the high school and the K-5 special area facilitators. And the feedback we're having from this meeting is that these are the best curriculum discussions that have happened in the history of the district. Everyone felt that they were respected. This was an opportunity to actually think and voice opinions and concerns. And Dr. Walsh brought to us the idea of having some communal rules of discussion and really understanding and appreciating the peer review process. And so, again, we had a lot of great feedback, and we also had a lot of good times. We had someone sitting in his special spot there on the board. Yes, he did. So, again, look forward to seeing some of those proposed changes coming to the board next month for your approval so that we can continue to move forward and bring what will be best in class to Bethel Park. One of the other topics that we have been looking at and really diving deeply into for now and in the future when we open the K-5 building is the multi-tiered system of support model. And Dr. Shu and I are tasked with leading this sort of subcommittee, a group of looking at what other districts are doing and how they are implementing this so that we can ensure that we've done the research when we open up the K-5 building and we have something that is scientifically based, research based, and works for our students and our needs in the district. And so we did have the AIU come out and work with some of our elementary interventionists and go over just the purposes of data meetings and why we have these and why we collect data. And again, the ultimate goal is to change instruction. It's not to, just simply collect a bunch of numbers on students, but it's to implement then those changes of instruction to make sure that every child is getting what they need in order to be successful. And one of the things that Dr. Walsh has said with the strategic plan for us wanting to be best in class, and the AIU reiterated this to us and to our teachers, which I think was really important, is that this is a marathon. It is not a sprint. And so it's going to take time. It's going to take energy. And we really enjoyed having all of these reading specialists and interventionists and administrators in the room learning. We were all learning together and having, again, open discussion on what we are looking forward to, what we can implement now and in the future. So we thank you very much for your time.
Well, thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you. Any public comments on the agenda items? Any call-ins?
No call-ins.
Let's move on to the business items. Under the curriculum committee, Mr. Scalzo, can you take the two items there?
Yes. Number one, we have professional development. Under professional development, Douglas McCausland to attend the 68th PASBO Annual Conference at the Kalahari Resorts and Conventions in Poconos, PA from March 14, 2023 to March 17, 2023 at the total cost of $962. B, Mandy Figlioli and Elizabeth Wells to attend the online Luma Practitioner Certification Program learning sessions December 5th, 2022 to December 8th, 2022, and coaching sessions January 4th, 2023, February 1st, 2023, and March 1st, 2023 at the total cost of $3,900. Number two, we have Train the Trainer for elementary Smithsonian science trainers. Board of School Directors approves the administration's recommendation to compensate Barbara Walsh, grade 1, Sarah Liberto, grade 2, Patricia Esposito, grade 3, and Amy Luzader, grade 4, 1.5 hours of preparation at the contractual rate when students are in session in order to act as trainers to teachers who missed the 2021-2022 school year Smithsonian science training. I would like to move items 1 and 2.
Is there a second? Second. So it's moved by Mr. Scalzo, seconded by Mr. McGregor. Before we vote, are there any questions on either of these items? Okay.
Voting is open. Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. McGregor, can you take the 6 items under Personnel Committee?
Yes, sir. Under Personnel tonight, we have 6 items. I'll read them. Number 1, approval of extra duty responsibility program for a 22-23 school year. Number 2, change of assignment. Number 3, appointment of personnel. Number 4, approval of paid intern. Number 5, a memorandum of understanding with the Bethel Park Federation of Teachers. And number 6, acceptance of resignations. So I move 1 through 6.
Second.
Motion was made by Mr. McGregor, seconded by Mr. Scalzo. Before we vote on these items, are there any questions?
Voting is open. Motion carries.
Thank you. Mr. Grisbeck, can you take the Finance Committee items?
Sure thing. We have 9 items tonight under Finance Committee. Number 1, November 2022 salaries and bills totaling $7,160,734.45. Number 2, October 2022 financial report. Number 3, budgetary transfers. Number 4, approval of student services contract. The Board of School Directors approves the administration's recommendation to approve the student services contract with Pathways Human Services of PA and the memorandum of understanding for TransPerfect remote interpreting. Number 5, the AIU Joint Purchasing Board. The Board of School Directors approves the administration's recommendation to authorize the district to continue its participation with the AIU Joint Purchasing Board by approving resolution number 14, TAC 2022, naming Doug McCausland as the primary member and Lori Kiefer as the alternative member. Number 6, contract extension with Direct Energy Business. The Board of School Directors approves the administration's recommendation to approve a 3-year contract extension with Direct Energy Business for power supply coordination services and electric supply with a start date of January 2024. The contract will set a price for fixed adders, so capacity, transmission, et cetera, at a price that is equal to or better than the same price components in place for our current agreement. Wholesale electrical purchases subsequently will be made and matched with the fixed adder to provide a final price, and the contract extension was approved by the Western PA Electric Consortium Committee. Number 7, the purchase of a used school van from Bluebird Sales of Pittsburgh at a cost of $12,000. Number 8, payment for the bus garage renovation project for $38,610. As well as $139,984.56 to A. Felino Construction. And then number 9, the commitment of fund balance. The Board of School Directors approves the administration's recommendation to approve the commitment of general fund balance effective June 30th, 2022 as follows: $6,468,617 committed for retiree post-employment benefits, $54,459.51 committed for legal trust, and $10,299,316.77 committed for future capital projects. I move to approve items 1 through 9 on the Finance Committee agenda tonight.
Second.
Does anyone have any questions on any of those 9 items, or would anyone like anything held out to vote on separately?
I actually have a question on the bus garage. Most of the public would know we have now moved the buses back to the high school and in and around the YMCA. When do we project that it will be paved based on the weather this week? And when do we project that the buses will be back in the garage?
Well, the good news is that the paving was supposed to be last week of November. It's now been moved up to Thanksgiving time. So hopefully the weather will cooperate. Today was not a great example of that, but perhaps it'll settle back down and we can get this thing moved by the first week of December. We still have, once we're paved, we have to spray lines and do some other things to kind of wrap it all up. But we're hoping by the end of the first week of December.
Mr. McCausland, would you like to talk about number 6 just very briefly, just to maybe explain that a little bit better, what that entails?
Sure. The direct energy contract, we have our energy bid out and priced through the end of 2023. So in January of 24, the way we're structuring it is similar to the way we do natural gas, so that we can be ready whenever the market price reaches a low point. We'll be able to act very quickly and lock in that price, because like everything else, prices are changing daily or weekly. So this method will allow us to take the same approach we took with natural gas and watch the market for the dips and then act on that and buy the energy at that point and extend that contract further. So it's a little bit different approach than we've used in the past, but market conditions are kind of dictating that. But
Appreciate that.
That's
Thank you.
the layman's way that I would put it.
On number 7, the van, I think in the last meeting, we talked about buying small vans so we could hire drivers with a CDL license. Is this that type of van, or does this
Yes,
still require
we did buy a new van. It'll take us a little longer to get this one. Right after we did that, we were able to locate this used van that had a few miles on it, but still very usable. So we could get that right away. So we wanted to purchase it so that it would add to the fleet, and we can get those shorter runs or special needs runs with a driver that isn't necessarily CDL licensed. So we're kind of keeping to explore those opportunities when we see them. So you may see more in the future if we get our hands on another used van.
Sure. Okay. Great. And then I guess last question was number 9, just because people will probably see some high dollar figures there. That is just the reallocation of fund balances to different accounts, correct?
Yeah, that's just the reallocation. It kind of mirrors the strategies you've used in the past, but because of the audit being closed out, and we have to make that commitment for the end of the fiscal year 21-22. So this is that commitment.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay, let's go ahead and vote.
Voting is open. Motion carries.
Thank you. And then, Ms. Turner, can you take the policy committee?
Right. The first one is the third and final reading for policy 236.1, which is the threat assessment, 805, which is emergency preparedness and response, and 8052, which is school security personnel. So I move that we approve those.
Is there a second?
Second.
So motion is made by Ms. Turner, seconded by Mr. McGregor. Any questions?
Voting is open.
Okay.
Motion carries.
Okay, the next one is policy 217. It's a graduation requirements change. This is due to the conversation we had several weeks ago about honorary degrees. It's putting it all in the policy. The next is an AR discussion, but it does outline how you would apply for it. You do need to talk to the high school principal, who is still here and can answer additional questions if Dr. Walsh cannot. But it redlines the process for both the veteran who could be honored with an honorary degree and somebody who else did not contributed to the community who did not finish high school. Did I hit all that correctly?
Yeah, correct. So it's really just one big change. The policy exists with only honoring veterans who left high school to serve, and this will expand that to provide honorary degrees to other people who left high school for emergency or significant life circumstances, but have gone on to contribute well to their communities or even to Bethel Park. So it's a way to kind of keep that honorary program going beyond just the military purposes.
Any comments, questions on policies?
All right, finally up for discussion is 217AR, procedures for the honorary high school diploma. Dr. Walsh?
Yeah, so
Mr.
ARs are
Maloney?
just administrative regulations on how the admin would administer the policy once it's approved. These ARs aren't board approved, they're just an acknowledgement by the board that this procedure matches your expectations in the policy. Once that policy is passed, then the AR gets sent out to the principals for their administrative regulation manual, such a thing.
Okay, that's it on policy. Next, we have public comments on anything related to school matters. No call-ins?
No call-ins.
Nobody from our massive public attendance? No? Okay. Great. Any board comments?
Yeah, I have a comment. I just want to thank everybody in this room for everything that you've been doing, the entire administration, the entire staff, teachers, for making our schools better. We're seeing it happen. We see it in our reports, and I couldn't be more pleased. And I do want to give a special thanks to Mr. Villani and his team for bringing that blue ribbon. Really appreciate what Jim Fodsey, Mark Kaczynski, Diana Franzak, that whole team, very special team. Just want to thank you so much for doing that and bringing that to us. Really appreciate that. But again, I just want to make sure that I recognize the entire district as a whole. We are moving forward. We are on a good course, and I'm very, very positive going into this holiday season. It's a wonderful time to see where the district is at this point. So happy holidays.
Any other comments?
Really quickly, because I already talked a lot, but I appreciate all of the hard work that I'm seeing, outside of school hours. Like Dr. Walsh came to the town council meeting last night and just explained the Blue Ribbon Award. Jim Cromie, out and about, the help with the bus driver video and the Around Town episode is so just very much appreciated. I think it's important for our community to see everyone out there, representing Bethel Park in such a wonderful way. So I appreciate all of, like Finn said, all of the work that you all do, really.
Agreed, yeah. I would say, I've only been in Bethel Park for about 5 years now, and in the last 5 years, I'd say it's pretty night and day from whenever I moved here to what it looks like right now. And, that's because of all of you and all the hard work you've been putting in. And to echo what, Dr. Walsh said earlier, I think a great example of that is our school play. We had a director who wrote her own play, and a bunch of really talented kids who, explored those various talents and got to, do something different in, a first of its kind show, and I think did a really fantastic job with it. So that was really fun for me to just go and see them display those talents, but I think also a great example of, the best in class that Dr. Walsh always tries to push us towards, and that you all have done a great job of pushing us towards. So thank you.
Mm-hmm. So I was in Minnesota visiting family last week. That's where I grew up. And I was talking to, some of my friends there who are now on the school board in Minnesota. I got to tell you, we talk about bus drivers and finding paras, and, the same problems exist there, too. This isn't a local Bethel Park problem or even a Western Pennsylvania problem. It's a national problem. The only thing different is we have a blue ribbon and they don't. Okay, so congratulations.
I want to express one thing. A lot of us up here did attend the high school musical that Courtney Foss Williams put on. We have some great athletic students. All fall sports were really recognized this year between tennis and soccer and football. And I'm missing some, but they were out and about. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is there's another play. It starts, I believe, December 1st. IMS, because of the remodel, is doing their play early, and it's Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer Jr. I would encourage everyone to go out and watch this. These kids are talented, and sometimes this is their first time in a play. I know at that age, that was my daughter's first time, and they are talented, and it gives them self-confidence, and I think the community getting out there is huge, so good luck in a couple of weeks, but I know that falls right after Thanksgiving, so we've got to get that PR out now.
I'll check in my basement. Yeah.
It's in the garage, Jim. I'll drive it over after. Get the reindeer hooked up first.
Any other board comments? Is there a motion to adjourn? Second.